Welcome, my darlings, to Animal X. In the deepest, darkest depths of the ocean, unknown creatures lurk. Witnesses have looked them in the eye and live to tell.
It was looking at me straight on, and I could see these two huge nostrils.
My goodness, what could that thing be? Because I had never seen anything like it before.
And the animal was whipping its head and its neck as fast as you could see.
Science dismisses these sightings as nothing more than optical illusions, or tales conjured out of a bottle of rum. You might mistake a humpback whale for a killer monster, a manatee for a frolicking mermaid. Many unexplained sightings, no doubt, are nothing more than tall tales told by old tars. But not all of them can be so easily dismissed.
Just be careful.
There are stranger things in heaven and earth. You're about to see one of them. Hear that noise? That, my darlings, is the song of the whale. One of the most hypnotic noises in the universe. But there is a more intriguing sound coming from the deep. At the end of the 20th century, science tuned its ear from outer space to another uncharted territory. The depths of the world's oceans. And this is what they heard. Now, this may sound like bubbles in the bath, but in fact, what the scientists stumbled upon is extraordinary, a sound never heard before. This unidentified sound has become known as the bloop. Researchers are almost positive it's the voice of something bigger than a whale, living miles below the surface of the ocean. Is this the first proof that a sea monster exists? We'll find out more later. In the meantime, I'm sending Daniel and Natalie to investigate a number of sea monster sightings. The team is off to Wales, Great Britain, and a ferry port called Pembroke Dock.
It was from in here, the Shipwright Arms pub, where several witnesses, including barmaid Leslie John, saw something very unusual out in the river.
I was serving a customer, looking through the window, and I just happened to see a big black fin. And it was moving slowly, and with ripples after it. And I just said to the lads, you know, what's that? So they carried on, went outside to have a look, and they saw the actual body in the head.
One of the lads who got an eyeful was Peter Thomas.
What did you actually do when you heard Leslie say she'd seen something out the window?
I went to the door to take a look, and saw a snake-like object about, 5-6 car lengths long. Nothing like I've ever seen before.
Now, there's been some talk that a jetty had broken down and it was just floating out to sea or something, or there was some, the Ministry of Defence was doing some submarine activities in the area. What do you think about that?
Well, it wasn't anything floating, because he was obviously going against his eye. As for a submarine, what I saw was definitely flesh and blood. It wasn't anything mechanical.
Pub owner David Crew ran outside to take a look for himself.
What I seen was a large black serpent-like creature. It's about 150 metres away, but I'd estimate it's about 40 feet long. It had a head and a short neck, followed by quite a plump body and then a long tail trailing behind it.
And do you think what you saw is a sea monster?
To this day, we don't know what we saw. It was a living, breathing creature out there.
So how do you respond to people that say it was a piece of seaweed or a basking shark or a hoax?
There have been a lot of suggestions and hearsay about what it really could be. Seaweed it certainly wasn't. A hoax it certainly wasn't, because we all saw what we saw. I very, very much doubt whether it was a basking shark. The shape and size was completely wrong.
So why do you think that no one has seen it since?
I do believe it's a visitor to the area. The waterway isn't large enough itself to home something of this size. There are reports from the Cornish coast of these things once in a while, so I think it's something perhaps from the Atlantic Ocean that maybe was brought inland for whatever reason.
Some half a dozen eyewitnesses saw the creature. This photograph is the only physical proof of the sea creature's existence. So I'm going to talk with zoologist and cryptozoologist Richard Freeman, who may shine some light on the conundrum. Is this conclusive proof that the Pembroke Dock sea serpent exists? This photo was taken by a customer at the Shipwright Arms that afternoon. Or is there another explanation for what this photograph contains? So what do you think it is?
I don't know. It's very big, whatever it is, because I've been down on this stretch of rocks here and they go on for 70 or 80 feet. It was supposedly swimming against the tide, so the witnesses say, and this piece here they say is the head because it was seen lifted out of the water.
So what could it be? Let's take a look at the usual suspects. Whale species come in various shapes and sizes. It could be a sea lion, a dolphin, or even a giant eel.
What about the possibility of it being a giant eel, a fish?
It's unlikely to be any kind of fish, because fish flex in the horizontal plane, that is side to side. They said it was just propelling itself, possibly with limbs underneath the water, because none of this part of the body was moving. If it was a fish, they'd have seen it flexing side to side and causing quite a big wake as it did so.
If what people are seeing is a real creature, can science explain what it is and where it comes from?
Well, we don't know for sure until we either catch one or get some biological material from one of them. But it seems to be some sort of reptile. When people talk about sea serpents, they often mention plesiosaurs. Plesiosaurs belong to a group of reptiles that are completely extinct. But there were marine reptiles around in the Mesozoic that have living relatives and descendants. These were a group of marine crocodiles called the Thalattosuchians, which were very much like today's crocodiles, except they had flippers rather than legs, and they had a fin on the tail. And the other group were the mosasaurs. Mosasaurs were related to the varanid lizards or monitor lizards. You call them goannas in Australia. It's possible that these are descendants of either the Thalattosuchian crocodiles or the mosasaurs.
Renowned cryptozoologist, the Reverend Lionel Fanthorpe, has already investigated these waters, scouring it with sonar equipment. Perhaps he can shed some light on the Pembroke Dock sea creature.
Well, I think there are three possibilities. One, that it was a false alarm in good faith. The second of the possibilities is that it really was some unknown aquatic creature like the Ogopogo of Canada or Morgower that's been seen off the coast of Cornwall, or the infamous Loch Ness Monster. I mean, the fact that the coelacanth turned up 10 million years after he was supposed to have died out shows that we don't know everything there is to know about the oceans and the estuaries. Another possibility, which I think is probably the most likely of the three, is that there's a Ministry of Defence establishment not so many miles from here, and perhaps it was a miniature submarine of a secret type, and when these very honest and reliable witnesses described what they called a diamond-shaped head, it could have been a piece of a conning tower, or it could have been the prow of a miniature sub.
Sounds like the Royal Navy had a few secrets of their own lurking in the deep. But the witnesses are all adamant what they saw that day in the water was no mini-sub. It was a living, breathing creature. A sighting that defies explanation. A similar mystery is playing out half a world away in Frisco Bay. I'm sending Daniel and Natalie to the US to check it out. This is what awaits them. Look at this and wonder.
For a kitchen so clean it sparkles, use new Formula 409. 409's deep cleansing formula strips away impurities for a brilliant clean. Let your kitchen shine with Formula 409.
They're off and running every afternoon. So help them kick the hunger. When he's on the outside, the goodness of Quaker oatmeal's on the inside. Quaker Chewy Granola Bars, another way to get your Quaker a day.
Headache? Get the speed of Advil Liquid Gels, the only leading brand with real liquid inside. Faster and stronger than extra-strength Tylenol and tough headache pain. Advil Liquid Gels rush relief right where you need it. Advil Liquid Gels. Liquid fast, Advil strong.
Great party, Matt.
They're from early. Everyone out! They'll never know.
Thanks to Tidy Cats.
Tidy Cats. Multiple strength for multiple cats.
Drink variety. Sonic's got it, others don't. Make Sonic your morning drink stop and choose from thousands of different flavor combinations. Start your day with a fresh Sonic Sunrise or come in for our classic cherry limeade. It's not just good, it's Sonic good.
You've been waiting too long. Just when you thought you could go on forever, your mind unwinds and your world keeps spinning round.
This Sunday, Whoa Sunday has mass appeal. What happens when millions of creatures converge in one location? Find out when massive nature puts you in the thick of it. Mo Rocca hosts Whoa Sunday. Sunday at 8, only on Animal Planet.
Sunday at 7, on Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. The heart of an extinct African volcano holds the one substance these elephants need to survive. Going back to the cave could mean death. Not going back will assure it. Animal Planet takes you to the only place in the world where elephants must venture underground to stay alive. Your weekly passport to adventure is Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. Sunday at 7, only on Animal Planet.
Ever wonder what it would be like to have animal powers? Animal Planet's the most extreme. Tomorrow at 9, count down the extraordinary abilities of animals and see what would happen if they gave their powers to us. Who's the fastest, the smartest, and the strongest? You won't believe who comes out on top. On Animal Planet's The Most Extreme. Tomorrow at 9, only on Animal Planet.
Welcome back to Animal X, where the Natural Mystery Unit has gone fishing for monsters of the deep. Daniel and Natalie are in San Francisco investigating this sighting. A sea serpent frolicking under the Golden Gate Bridge? Twins Bill and Bob Clark think so. They shot these startling images in January of 2004.
Now, how many times have you seen it altogether?
Well, we've seen it 9 times now. We saw it 8 times between 1985 and 1987, and then the recent sighting in January, which we took the video at.
Now, Bob, you've been with your brother Bill on every single one of your 9 encounters. How would you describe the creature?
Well, I describe the creature as a huge telephone pole floating through the water. The upper neck, if you saw it floating, if it didn't move, it would look like just a regular big old black telephone pole. The first time I saw the face really good, it was looking at me straight on, and I could see these 2 huge nostrils. They had to be the size of a man's fist, and it looked like a double-barreled shotgun looking at me. It had huge black nostrils. There were these eyebrow ridges over the eyes. The eyes were set behind it as a brow where the eyes are, and then it has a slightly elongated snout. The head itself was dark black, and the whole upper neck was black, but as it went around the sides, the color gradually changed from a dark black to like a mossy green, then a grassy green, and then a yellow green. The first sighting I had was the best sighting, and it was amazing because it actually beached in front of us only about 20 yards away. And in the process, it rolled over, and as it unrolled, these flipper-like fins unfolded like a fan, and each one of them had so much cartilage in between, like spikes. It wasn't a flipper for propulsion, and as it rolled over and dropped into the water, it seemed to spread these out like a stabilizing fashion until it could reorientate itself, and then it slowly moved off the rocks. The whole animal is probably over 100 feet long.
Did you see how it was actually moving through the water?
It actually created these vertical undulations, very similar to ribbon candy, if you can imagine folds in the body. And the animal was whipping its head and its neck as fast as you could see it, and would create these packets of 4 folds that would move down the length of the body like a piston in a car. I think that's where it gets all this power from. When I saw the scales, the larger green scales, it just reflected like a reptile, and it had this vicious these movements to it that were very snake-like, but I don't think it's a snake. It did look snake-like, but my own personal feeling is this is a totally unknown classification of animals.
A 100-foot sea serpent with scales? Huh, it sounds incredible. Daniel and Natalie are dying to check out these waters for themselves.
The Clarks are convinced that there's an unidentified sea creature coming into San Francisco Bay, and it's following the schools of herring that come into the bay this time of year.
The vision is quite compelling, so we're going to see what we come up with by taking a look 25 feet below.
Good morning,
Mark.
Natalie.
How you doing?
Daniel.
Hi, man. Good to see you.
Good to
Good to see you too.
Yeah, cool.
What's the weather been like over the past few days?
Well, it's been rainy and stormy, and the rivers have brought down a lot of nutrients from down through the marshes, and created a lot of nutrient-rich waters here in the bay, and that brings in the fish. And so the visibility shouldn't be too good.
No, not really. Can't see a thing! Yeah, it's pretty silky. You can't see anything else.
The visibility is terrible. A giant serpent or a shark could be circling the team right now, and they'd have absolutely no idea. I think it's time to call an end to this dangerous mission.
I don't think I've ever been in murkier water.
Not one fish.
No, they're probably out there. You just can't see them. Big sturgeon.
Schools of striped bass there's supposed to be. Seals, whales, sea monsters. We're probably totally surrounded by all these big fish and we can't see them. Sharks.
Wouldn't surprise me. Probably a good thing though.
I'm glad I didn't see the sharks. But I would have liked to have seen a few schools of fish just to get an idea of what's out there.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's much chance of that at all.
We didn't see the creature, but that's not to say it's not out there. The Clark's footage is definitely intriguing, and it's been put under the microscope by a number of experts. One believes it's genuine.
The Clark brothers sent their video to Clifford Paver, a physicist and former satellite imagery analyst for the U.S. Navy. He examined the footage and concluded that the video contains authentic images of several large, elongated marine animals. Creatures as yet unknown to science.
The length of the animal, or the animals, indicate that it's very unusual. It's hard to make a correlation to the fossil record. It looks like a serpentine animal. I went with a large sea snake, but it's very difficult to make any kind of assessment as to what that might be. Only that it wasn't faked and that the animals were real.
Dr. Paver has also determined that they're over 100 feet long and appear to be traveling in a pod of 6.
We have animals there in San Francisco Bay. They're probably predator type, you know, and they have to eat. Now, if the animals are real, then, and we have limited knowledge of this, or no knowledge of it, they can be dangerous. The San Francisco people need to at least investigate the possibility of having unknown animals in that bay. So I put in a report. People need to check this out. It should be done.
Frightening stuff, my darlings. Frightening stuff. When we return, Dan and Nat are off to Georgia to investigate a denizen of the deep whose legend goes back centuries.
It was the biggest thing I've ever seen in the water, and I have no idea what it was.
We'll be experiencing some turbulence. Please secure your belongings.
Glad Press and Seal Wrap. Just pull, place, and press. Glad Press and Seal Wrap doesn't just cover. It gives you a spill-proof seal. It's strong and stackable. Protects in the microwave. Seals to any clean, dry surface. And makes instant bags to help keep food fresh. It's a whole new way to store food. Glad Press and Seal Wrap. Get Glad.
Introducing the new Brita AquaView, the only filter with a window that lets you see what it takes out of your tap water. One AquaView filter lasts up to 4 months, eliminating 95% of lead, sediment, and chlorine taste from your tap water, day after day after day. It takes out what you don't want to take in. See the difference? The new Brita AquaView, just $39.99 for cleaner water every day. Brita, just add water.
Bye. See you tonight.
Love you.
Love you too. Oh, okay, that's my foot.
I'd State Farm Agent LaDonna Young Hansen. This is a true story. We didn't know what kind of claim it was. Was it going to be an auto claim or a homeowner's claim? Since we take care of all their insurance needs, it was easy to figure out.
And she handled all the paperwork.
In minutes.
She made the process totally painless.
Well, not totally. I mean,
okay.
Nobody takes care of you like State Farm. Trust us with all your insurance needs, and we'll save you some money, too. Call an agent today.
Like a good neighbor.
State Farm is there.
Beneath Yellowstone Park, a super eruption is stirring.
The U.S. Geological Survey expects an eruption anytime soon.
Oh, God.
Based on the latest predictions of leading scientists,
There's gonna be an eruption, okay? We know that.
this is the story of what could happen when Yellowstone erupts.
You gotta get out of there now.
The super volcano, Sunday at 8, only on the Discovery Channel.
Hi, I'm John Scheer, CEO and founder of Video Professor. You know, after teaching people how to operate their computers for over 15 years now, I'm amazed that there are still people that don't have computer skills, like Windows, word processing, the internet, and email. If you're looking for that new job, or maybe it's just balancing your budget, or even helping your kids with homework, these aren't handy skills to have. These are essential. If you're having trouble learning the computer, I'm going to help you out with a free learning lesson of your choice from Video Professor. Let me show you how simple this is. You put the CD in your CD drive. The lesson plays just like a video on your computer screen. The best part about this offer, this is free. You just pay a small shipping and processing charge, and I'll even refund that if you're not satisfied with my product. It's free, the risk is free, so what do you got to lose? Try my product.
To get your free computer learning CD, you must call now. Call 1-800-525-5418.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Every dog in the yard, so let's look alive for the dog show with all the drama. The competition's got the best, so Animal Planet's gonna want ya.
The country's top dogs head to Portland for the kickoff to the Eukanuba Tournament of Champions, Saturday, April 16th on Animal Planet.
This is Animal X, exclusive to Animal Planet. We're in coastal Georgia, on the trail of an undersea monster known as the Altamaha. It's named after the Altamaha River, the waterway it's known to frequent. There is no photograph, nor any video footage. But for centuries, its image has been burned into many people's memories.
From historical descriptions, the Altamaha is a classic sea serpent.
The indigenous tribes of this area handed down stories of a giant river monster. The sightings stretch from here in Georgia all the way down to Florida. Some witnesses say that there's a snort just before the creature dives, suggesting that it's either a mammal or a reptile.
One man to have seen this mysterious monster is Barry Prescott.
A huge animal was surfacing, having run aground on a mud bank in the river, and it was temporarily stranded. So I had my next door neighbour with me, and we watched it for what turned out to be about 20 minutes. At first it just rested there, then within a short space of time it realised it was stuck, and it started to almost panic. And the thing was about 4 feet out of the water, a large triangular body. And when we first saw it, it was brown, and then it became mud-coloured with all the mud that it was churning up. It struggled very, very hard for 10 or 15 minutes with rests, and it appeared to have like paddle-shaped flippers on the front. It appeared to undulate when it was trying to get off the mud bank. There was no sideways wriggling at all. It was all undulating body movements and strong flipper attempts at propulsion. I estimate it to be about 20 feet long with a thick neck and tail. It was the biggest thing I've ever seen in the water, and I've no idea what it was.
Barry knows these waters like the back of his hand. He was a commercial fisherman working the Altamaha River 6 or 7 days a week for many years. Now, the waterways around here are absolutely teeming with alligators. They're absolutely everywhere. You don't think it could have possibly been a huge, huge alligator?
No, you know, I've seen thousands of alligators, and I've seen hundreds of manatees and sturgeon and all the big, even a whale and large sharks. And there was nothing about this that looked like anything I had ever seen except pictures of a Loch Ness monster.
And that's how another witness, Mrs. Bert Young, describes the monster. She's lived on the banks of the river for 40 years. If anyone knows the secrets of the Altamaha, it's Mrs. Young.
I would say when I saw him, he was probably 6 or 8 feet long. And he just humped out of the water with the tail sticking up like a fan on the bottom of the end of the tail, and then there was the humps, and his head was up out of the water. Looked similar to a snake. I had never seen anything like it before, and haven't ever seen anything like it since.
Did you think this was the river monster that everyone had been talking about?
That's what came to my mind, that it was the river monster. The Altamaha, as they have referred to it.
The Altamaha River is one of the most precious wildlife reserves in America. It has an amazingly rich biodiversity.
Some people think the Altamaha is really a native animal, and it's just a case of mistaken identity. But Donna Stewart from the Georgia Natural History Museum Environmental Education Program isn't one of those people. She says it's a complete mystery.
What do you think it was? Do you think it's mammal, reptile, fish?
Well, honestly, when I first started researching this, I really thought it's a log floating in the water. People are seeing manatees coming in close, coming up the river, or sea turtles, alligators, of course. There's lots of alligators in this area. But The reports are so similar. They describe a snake-shaped head and a long neck, front flippers, but no rear flippers. And people have had time to really sit and look at this animal. Now I don't know if what they're saying, it truly is a mystery.
Do you think it could be a descendant of the plesiosaur?
It'd be an exciting thing if it was. It would be, what a scientific discovery to find a true dinosaur still swimming around right here in Georgia. I would like to think it could be, and maybe in time somebody will get a really good look at it with a camera. But it's neat to think we could have our own Loch Ness Monster here, at the Altamaha River.
A down south Loch Ness Monster? What do Daniel and Natalie think?
You can discount a lot of what eyewitnesses saw who saw the creature from a long distance as perhaps a log or an alligator or an optical illusion. But in the case of Barry's sighting, he saw it for 20 minutes and it was nearly almost all out of the water. You just can't dispute that.
And this is somebody who's had years and years experience in those waterways. He's seen all the animals that are there. He's seen the alligators, he's seen the manatees, he's seen all the fish, all the sharks that are there. He knows if he sees something and he doesn't know what it is, for 20 minutes you have to take his word for it.
It's really just an oasis for wildlife, isn't it? The alligators everywhere, the manatees, it's just so alive when you're there. The noises that you hear during the day and at night. It's beautiful.
Well, there's 100 endangered species just living in that, in that one river delta, so yeah, it is truly an amazing place.
And it has such a huge biodiversity. It wouldn't surprise me if there are animals out there in that region that we're yet to discover.
Well, it is the perfect environment for it.
So far we've heard accounts of 3 different underwater creatures that defy explanation. With more and more people venturing on the water these days, you'd think someone would reel one of these monsters in. But over time, these creatures seem to be becoming more elusive. Sightings of sea and lake monsters are actually declining. Why could that be? Is there something going on in our oceans that we're not aware of? We'll find out when Animal X returns.
For a kitchen so clean it sparkles, use new Formula 409. 409's deep cleansing formula strips away impurities for a brilliant clean. Let your kitchen shine with Formula 409.
Something smells good. Delivery?
It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
DiGiorno? Get out. You fixed the oven. You fixed the oven? You are handy. I'm calling Mother.
Pizza?
Introducing DiGiorno Microwave Pizza. Rises up golden brown in minutes. For oven-baked taste in a hurry, it's not delivery, it's DiGiorno. Microwave.
Microwave, huh?
At least I fixed something.
How fast can Alivert start treating an allergy here?
This fast.
And here?
This fast.
Alivert dissolves fast, without water. Get non-drowsy allergy relief without a prescription. Alivert, right when you need it, wherever you are.
It's not just another truck. It's the Honda Ridgeline. With four-wheel drive, a rugged, integrated closed-box frame, and a lockable in-bed trunk. Introducing the all-new Ridgeline. Above all, it's a Honda.
Time, you can count on Kraft shredded cheese to taste great. And with the fresh slide, that Kraft taste you love today will be just as delicious tomorrow. If it makes it till tomorrow. Kraft shredded cheese. So lucky to be loving you. All the taste, all the time.
The heart of an an extinct African volcano holds the one substance these elephants need to survive. Animal Planet takes you to the only place in the world where elephants must venture underground to stay alive. Your weekly passport to adventure is Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. Sunday at 7, only on Animal Planet. Coming up next on Animal Planet Heroes.
Apparently, the two bulldogs jumped on the pit bull. He's in shock.
Unfortunately, we see this type of injury quite a bit here.
Don't miss Animal Planet Heroes. Coming up next on Animal Planet.
Welcome back to Animal X. Earlier, we heard this sound. This is called bloop. And it's the sound of a huge unknown underwater creature. Bloop was first detected in 1997 by US Navy spy microphones set 3,000 miles apart in the deep sea. They were put in place to detect the movement of Soviet submarines during the Cold War. But they caught something even bigger. Analyzing the frequency of the sound, scientists know two things. It's coming from an animal. And whatever it is, it's bigger and louder than the largest whale in the ocean. But how can we be sure that the recording doesn't have a more logical explanation? The bloop sound was supplied to Animal X by NOAA, the United States National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. To find out more about the mysterious bloop, NOAA has turned the noise into a spectrogram. A spectrogram is a picture of the sound. Now they can compare the bloop against known phenomena. This is the spectrogram and sound of an undersea earthquake. These are blue whales. And this is the sound of a ship. None of these look anything like bloop. But if there's some giant monster down there, NOAA is determined to find out. As I said earlier, even though more people are venturing out onto the world's waters, the number of sightings of sea and lake monsters is diminishing. So, what's happening to our oceans? Natalie's put that question to marine ecologist, aquanaut Dr. Mark Hay.
If you could pick one factor that is responsible for the problems that we're seeing in our oceans, what would it be?
The factor I would pick would be overfishing. In other words, fish on coral reefs are critical in removing seaweeds that overgrow and kill corals. And we've seen, even in really remote areas, these boats can come through and totally deplete a reef in a couple of weeks. And so in my lifetime, or my academic lifetime, the single thing that I think has produced the biggest effect is severe overfishing. We've had a really hard time managing fisheries. And the reason is because you don't need to manage fisheries, you need to manage people. And politically, that's very difficult for us. And so I really think that the main things we need to worry about in the coming years, I think environmental sustainability and human health, and those two things interacting are going to be the things that humans have to deal with in the next 100 years.
Do you think it's possible that giant creatures of the deep were more prevalent in the past when the Earth was healthier and more balanced?
You know, I think there are probably certain creatures of the deep that are out there today that we don't know about. Whether they're giants, I'm not sure. There are many marine species, even shallow, and even things that we've held in our hands that are undescribed and unknown. So I'm sure there's, as you go deeper, you'll find more unusual things. It was not that many years ago that we discovered hydrothermal vents in the deep ocean. This is fundamentally different forms of life that nobody knew existed. It's like finding life on Mars. And so I think sort of the whole mysteries of the deep thing is not unreasonable.
On that note, when we come back, Daniel and Natalie will take the plunge. They are going down to the only inner space station on Earth.
How amazing was it diving down there?
To keep things fresh in the freezer, use new Glad Press and Seal freezer wrap. It seals air out, so freshness stays in, because it's the only wrap that seals when you press it, to get more air out than freezer bags. New Glad Press and Seal freezer wrap. For freshness in the freezer, get Glad.
Red Scarf in Pamplona, €10. Bike tour through the wine country of Bordeaux, €200. Gelato in Rome, €3. Opera tickets in Vienna, €120. Getting off the beaten path, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For your travel, there's MasterCard.
When you can't go with them, send someone you trust. Let them go with Quaker fruit and oatmeal bars. There's 25% less sugar. When he's on the outside, the goodness of Quaker is on the inside. Quaker fruit and oatmeal bars. Another way to get your Quaker a day.
The planet's funniest animals. Thursday at 8. Only on Animal Planet.
Hi, I'm John Scherer, CEO and founder of Video Professor. You know, after teaching people how to operate their computers for over 15 years now, I'm amazed that there are still people that don't have computer skills, like Windows, word processing, the internet, and email. If you're looking for that new job, or maybe it's just balancing your budget, or even helping your kids with homework, these aren't handy skills to have. These are essential. If you're having trouble learning the computer, I'm going to help you out with a free learning lesson of your choice from Video Professor. Let me show you how simple this is. You put the CD in your CD drive. The lesson plays just like a video on your computer screen. The best part about this offer, this is free. You just pay a small shipping and processing charge, and I'll even refund that if you're not satisfied with my product. It's free, the risk is free, so what do you got to lose? Try my product.
To get your free computer learning CD, you must call now. Call 1-800-525-5418.
This Sunday, Whoa Sunday has mass appeal. Hundreds of acres, teeming with millions of animals. Where do they all come from? Why do they converge? And what happens to the guys caught in the middle? Mo Rocca hosts the premiere of Massive Nature on Whoa Sunday. Sunday at 8, only on Animal Planet. A 7,000-pound hippo will fight anything that moves. The aggressive bull shark is powered by more testosterone than any animal alive. So what would happen if they met? Animatronic adversaries swim towards a CGI showdown in this African river title fight. Animal Face-Off tomorrow at 8 on Animal Planet.
Welcome back to Animal X. I've sent Daniel and Natalie to the Florida Keys, where the good people of NOAA are going to allow us to visit Aquarius, the world's only underwater lab. The lab is 3.5 miles offshore and 60 feet down. You can't exactly just drop in, but I want Dan and Nat to check out this inner space station for themselves.
How amazing was it diving down there? Like, I was surprised at how small it was. Like, as soon as you went underwater, like it was 50 feet down, you could see it, and it just looked like this tiny little space capsule. And as you get closer, you realise that it's become like an artificial reef. There's fish swimming around it. There was a school of barracuda. Then you pop up this little hole, and all of a sudden you're inside, and it's tiny, isn't it? Tiny and really claustrophobic. And my ears were just going nuts because it was a really rough day. The waves were crashing against it, and the pressure was just changing every second. So you had to constantly equalise while trying to talk to people. It was really bizarre.
Scientists lived in the station for 10 days at a time. Their mission? Study and explore our coastal ocean.
It looked a lot bigger from the outside. Until you went in, you realise how small it is.
Can you imagine spending 10 days down there?
It'd be pretty hard. Like being in a submarine or something like that.
I'm surprised that they don't have labs like this elsewhere in the world. You're saying it's the only one in the world.
Yeah, there used to be several. The French had one, the Russians had one, our Navy had some.
I think it's a lot to do with funding now. And the world has kind of lost the thrill of exploration for the ocean.
What I find amazing about the whole thing is that nowadays there's more interest in outer space rather than the oceans and inner space. Yet, although it's expensive, you know, over $1 million to run that thing for a year, the amount of billions and billions of dollars that are spent sending a space shuttle into space can keep that thing running for years and years and years. And yet there's only one of them.
You can spend 10 times, 100 times as long doing research down there, and it's invaluable research. We're learning about how human activities like overfishing and pollution affects our coral reefs and our oceans. It's essential if we're going to survive.
That's right. I mean, the ocean is so intricate, and the workings of it we know so little about, yet we're not even trying really to find out.
I think we should be spending our money on trying to save our own planet before spending billions of dollars exploring other planets. It makes sense.
Need to look after this one before we try and find a replacement.
Sounds very sensible, my darlings. When we come back, we meet a man who has investigated more than 800 sea monster sightings.
In many cases, these incidents were not just one witnesses, but 5, 10, or even up to 200.
Great party, Matt.
Get home early. Everyone out!
They'll never know. Thanks to Tidy Cats.
Tidy Cats. Multiple strength for multiple cats.
We need broccoli.
I don't like broccoli.
Some chicken.
I don't like chicken.
Kids don't always eat everything they should. That's why there's Pediasure. It's a source of complete balanced nutrition for healthy growth.
Okay, waffles.
I don't think I like waffles.
She gets help for what she needs, and so do you. Pediatrician recommended Pediasure. Be sure.
Drink variety. Sonic's got it, others don't. Make Sonic your morning drink stop and choose from thousands of different flavor combinations. Start your day with a fresh Sonic Sunrise or come in for our classic cherry limeade. It's not just good, it's Sonic good.
Travelocity presents The Roaming Gnome, denouncer of travel myths. Our first myth, it's hard work to find the best airfare.
Not true of Travelocity. Just search once, and if there's a lower fare at a different airport or on a different date, they'll show you.
Myth number 2, American appliances don't work in Europe.
Oh, grow up. Ah! Am I going to die?
More ways to find the lowest fare. Book with Travelocity, and you'll never roam alone.
When was the last time? The last time you were called ma'am instead of mom. Watched your kids fly without ever leaving the ground. Danced without music. It's time for you, for them. South Carolina, where smiling faces and beautiful places welcome you in ways you'll never forget. Call for your official Smiles Vacation Guide. South Carolina, it's time.
You're watching Animal Planet.
Hi, I'm John Scherer, CEO and founder of Video Professor. You know, after teaching people how to operate their computers for over 15 years now, I'm amazed that there are still people that don't have computer skills, like Windows, word processing, the internet, and email. If you're looking for that new job, or maybe it's just balancing your budget, or even helping your kids with homework, these aren't handy skills to have. These are essential. If you're having trouble learning the computer, I'm going to help you out with a free learning lesson of your choice from Video Professor. Let me show you how simple this is. You put the CD in your CD drive. The lesson plays just like a video on your computer screen. The best part about this offer, this is free. You just pay a small shipping and processing charge, and I'll even refund that if you're not satisfied with my product. It's free, the risk is free, so what do you got to lose? Try my product.
To get your free computer learning CD, you must call now. Call 1-800-525-5418.
There are animal stories and legends that have captivated people for centuries. But are they more than just myth? This is Animal X. Next Tuesday at 9, the deadly thylacine has been extinct for over 70 years. Or has it? Animal X, next Tuesday at 9, only on Animal Planet. Coming up next on Animal Planet Heroes.
Apparently, the two bulldogs jumped on the pit bull. He's in shock.
Unfortunately, we see this type of injury quite a bit here.
Don't miss Animal Planet Heroes. Coming up next on Animal Planet.
Welcome back to Animal X on Animal Planet. We call this third rock from the sun planet Earth. We should really be calling it planet water. 70% of the planet's surface is covered by water. And 90% of its living space is in the ocean. So much of it has yet to be explored. Scientists recognize that there are mysteries in the deep. The giant squid, for example, was considered to be imaginary. But in recent years, with massive tentacle carcasses washing up around the world, science fiction has suddenly become science fact. So monsters of the deep do exist. Giant squid can grow as long as a city bus and weigh up to a ton. So what about the whale shark? 15 tons and up to 50 feet long. Are they alone? Or are there even rarer things swimming in the ocean's depths? One man who's investigated more than 800 sightings of sea monsters is renowned cryptozoologist Gary Mangiacopra. He believes there are a number of giant species just waiting to be discovered.
We do know that based upon the reports worldwide, we're not dealing with a sea serpent or a long-necked creature. We are in fact dealing with perhaps 2, 3, maybe even 4 different distinct species of large unknown marine animals.
What are some of the distinguishing characteristics of these sea monsters?
If you take the reports worldwide, you can digest reports into 2 basic characteristics. One of which is the classically described elongated creature, the classic sea serpent, about 70 to 100 feet long, very snake-like, ear-like in outward appearance. The second version is the classic long neck, an animal with a classic plesiosaur type of body, 4 flippers, a very elongated neck, a small head being described.
Well, let's take the serpent-like sea monsters to begin with. Is it possible that people could be seeing an oarfish or even a conger eel?
The critic says that these witnesses were mistaken and they had seen an oarfish. And yet the critics seem to fail to realize the largest recognized oarfish is only about 20 feet long. How can these creatures reach 4 to 5 times of their length to account what witnesses had said, that yes, I have seen a large creature 70 to 100 feet long. And in many cases, these incidents were not just one witnesses, but 5, 10, or even up to 200.
And what about sea monsters like the Altamahaha, and you have the classic Loch Ness Monster? They're both very plesiosaur-like. What do you think these are?
I don't think we have survivors from 65 million years ago, but I feel that what we have are in effect mammals.
How important do you think it is to prove that these sea monsters exist?
Right now is that we are in a race trying to save these creatures. We know absolutely almost nothing about them. We can't even prove at the present time that they are even existing, and yet the witnesses being seen both in the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans indicate we are dealing with very rare unknown creatures.
Fascinating stuff, my darlings. Which brings us to the one thing that may just solve the mystery of the sea monsters once and for all. The marine senses of life.
Science is finally recognizing that one of the last great unexplored frontiers is the world's oceans.
The marine senses of life is a joint effort between marine scientists from over 50 countries to search and document the world's oceans. The belief behind this study is that the greatest calamity that faces us is the loss of species before they've even been identified.
Well, it's important to find out what lives in the sea, because the sea is most of the Earth. We're living on the planet ocean. Most people realize that 70% of the Earth's surface is covered by water, but don't realize how thick the living space is. The average depth of the oceans is almost 4,000 meters. And if you think about what lives on land, most things on land are confined to within tens to a few hundreds of meters of the surface. So if you multiply out the area covered by the ocean, what you find is that well over 90% of the living space on Earth is in the ocean. And we know very, very little about what lives in that living space. So we know almost nothing about what lives on our own planet. We know more about the surface of the moon than we do about the bottom of the ocean. When you think about the fact that this is our planet and our living space, I think we need to focus more on what lives around us, because of the possibility that we may be changing the environment.
Throughout marine history, people have been encountering giant sea serpents, plesiosaur-type creatures. What are the chances of encountering these creatures today?
Well, I can't speak to things like plesiosaurs, but the chances of encountering things that we don't know about and things that we don't expect are actually fairly good. There's been a number of animals discovered in the past few decades that we had no clue existed. Some of them very large. Often these are in the deep sea. And because we're continuing to find things that we have no idea about, I think that's an indication that there are more things down there that are large and weird and really interesting.
Our planet's last frontier is filled with mystery. And when those incredible secrets are revealed, you will see them right here on Animal X. There's stranger things in heaven and earth. And you've just seen and heard some of them.
From inner city Detroit to the outskirts of Houston, Animal Planet heroes are ready to bring emergency help to neglected and abused animals and swift justice to the cruel. Don't miss Animal Planet Heroes, next, right here on Animal Planet.
Coming up on Animal Cops Detroit.
Big ass bite wounds and